Most F1 teams will get 2026 completely wrong. There are moments in Formula One where the sport quietly changes direction, and then there are moments where everything you think you know is torn apart. 2006 is one of those moments. This isn't a normal regulation update. It isn't a new front wing or clever loophole or minor engine tweak that only engineers notice. It's a full reset on how Formula One cars are designed, powered, driven, and ultimately how championships are won. And that's where the danger begins, because right now, most fans look at the grid and assume continuity. They assume the biggest teams will stay on top, that experience will win out, that the sport won't actually return to its familiar order. But Formula One history tells us the opposite. Whenever the rulebook is rewritten this aggressively, the teams that dominated before are often the ones caught off guard. Not because they forgot how to build a fast car, but because they trusted the wrong ideas for a completely new era. And here's the uncomfortable truth. As we sit here today, heading into the 2026 season, most Formula One teams are already making decisions that could define or destroy their next decade in the sport. By the end of this video, you'll understand why 2026 regulations aren't just a challenge, they're a trap, and why several teams may already be building the wrong car. Chapter 1: The Illusion of Continuity. Every major Formula One reset begins with the same mistake. Fans look at the current grid and assume continuity, that Red Bull will be untouchable, that McLaren will still dominate, that Mercedes will fight, that Ferrari will finally get it right. But history paints a very different picture. In 2009, regulation changes dismantled the established order, and Brawn GP won the championship in its very first season. In 2014, the hybrid era began, and Mercedes dominated for nearly a decade. In 2022, ground effect cars reshuffled the grid again, instantly ending Mercedes' reign. The lesson is simple: when Formula One undergoes a true reset, momentum resets with it. And 2026 is not a gentle evolution, it's a full system reboot. Chapter 2: The power unit reset that will decide championships. In 2026, the power unit stops being just a component. It becomes the foundation of the entire car. For the first time in Formula One history, electrical energy will contribute close to 50% of total power output. That is a huge shift. The internal combustion becomes smaller, the MGUH disappears entirely, and energy deployment becomes a strategic weapon, not just a background system. But here's the critical part. Aerodynamics can be copied, suspension concepts can be reverse engineered, but power units cannot. Once you commit to an engine architecture, you're basically locked in for years. Red Bull is building its first ever in-house power unit, partnering with Ford after 2 decades of relying on external suppliers. Cadillac is entering Formula One from scratch. Honda is returning by supplying Aston Martin. Even Mercedes and Ferrari, the most experienced engine builders on the grid, are effectively starting from zero. In 2014, Mercedes' early power unit advantage was worth over a second per lap. If a similar gap exists in 2026, no amount of Aero brilliance will save the teams from the wrong side of it. Chapter 3: Active Aerodynamics and the Efficiency War. The headline feature of 2026 cars is active aerodynamics. Movable front and rear elements, multiple operating modes, reduced drag on straights. On paper, it sounds like better racing. In reality, it introduces an enormous risk. Active systems demand perfect correlation between simulation, wind tunnel data, and real-world behavior. Any mismatch could cost lap time. Any reliability issues could cost points. Most importantly, 2026 shifts the performance target. Downforce is no longer king, efficiency is. Teams that chase peak grip may find themselves with cars that drain energy too quickly. Teams that prioritize efficiency may unlock lap times that others simply cannot access. This is not just a design challenge, it's a philosophical one. Chapter 4: The Disruption Effect. New teams and drivers under pressure. There's an uncomfortable truth in Formula One. Sometimes starting from nothing is actually an advantage. Audi and Cadillac are not burdened by legacy concepts. They are not trying to adapt cars designed for old regulations. They are not unlearning habits that once work. They are building for one target: 2026. History supports this idea. In 2009, Brawn GP didn't just arrive with a clever loophole. They arrived with a car designed specifically for a brand new rulebook, and they won both championships in their first and only season. Now, that doesn't mean that Audi and Cadillac are going to do that, but they don't need to. They only need to disrupt, steal points, split strategies, complicate championships. And disruption doesn't just hurt teams, it hurts drivers, because the 2026 cars will feel unfamiliar. Energy deployments will change, throttle application, active aero will shift braking points and corner entry speeds. Drivers who adapt quickly will suddenly look exceptional. Drivers who depend on stability and muscle memory may find themselves exposed. In previous regulations resets, we've seen careers change almost overnight. Some champions recalibrate, others quietly fade. In 2026, contracts will be judged brutally. 6 months of form could define a reputation. 1 season could decide a future. Chapter 5: The real reason most teams will get 2026 wrong. Here's a real danger. Most Formula One teams are chasing certainty. They want predictable simulations, stable concepts, incremental gains. The 2026 does not reward caution. It rewards flexibility, risk tolerance, the willingness to abandon what feels safe. Once the wrong philosophy is baked into a car, it cannot be fixed quickly. By the time teams realize their mistakes, the damage is already done, and history shows us that regulation-era mistakes can take years to recover from. So, the real question isn't who will be fastest on paper. It's who will understand the rules first, because 2026 Formula One won't reward the biggest names. It will reward the teams that are brave enough to build for the future, not the past. Thank you so much for watching, and hit that subscribe button. The 2026 season is about to start, so there will be way more deep dive-ins coming your way.